Hey folks, Brian with Risner Cutlery here, and today I've got some new RoseCraft blades on the table that we're going to take a look at. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more knife content, and let us know what you think in the comments. Alright, let's get into it. Here's the usual RoseCraft blades box. Depending on the exact model you get, it might look a bit different because they change it up occasionally, but it's a nice sturdy box with a foam liner inside, and the knife comes wrapped in wax paper. What about the knives? Well, I've got 3 of them to show you today from left to right. I've got the new French broadjack in black sandalwood. Then in the middle, we've got the restock of the Holston River Surgeon's knife. We haven't seen that one in a while. And then finally, we'll take a look at the new Sequatchie River Muskrat in black micarta. All of these are live now on our website, traditionalpocketknives.com, so when we're done here, head on over and check them out for yourself. Let's start with the French broadjack. Like I said, this is the new version of this pattern in black sandalwood handles. It just released this week, and it's already selling very well. We've got a few dozen on our shipping table, ready to get packed up and shipped out. This is the 3rd French broadjack released by RoseCraft. The first one was released with sporting the red smooth bone handles, and it was a popular knife, selling out rather quickly. The other week, we got the 2nd release of this pattern with rosewood handles, and the other day, this latest model dropped. The French broadjack comes in at 3.875 inches with the blade closed. It's a fairly compact knife and it's just shy of a ½ inch thick, so it's one of those knives that you can slip right into your pocket and forget about it. Opening up the blade, we've got a nice firm half stop with a good walk and talk. This is a D2 steel blade with a satin finished Warncliffe profile that's the perfect size to easily pinch and pull open with just the right amount of resistance, or you can use the nail nick if you prefer. RoseCraft has most of their traditional knives in D2 steel. It's a good budget steel that's easy to sharpen and doesn't rust too easily, and it gives a solid mix of edge retention and toughness. Once the blade is extended, the French broadjack measures 6.8 inches from the tip of the blade to the butt. That's a pretty full-size knife, but like I said, the overall form factor of the broadjack is still pretty compact. The blade itself is 3 inches from tip to bolster, and the actual cutting edge of the blade is 2.5 inches. That's a pretty healthy amount of blade to work with, more than enough to get you through your Amazon packages and cutting down some cardboard. Rounding it all out, you get a stainless steel integral liner and bolster with a great fit and finish on the handles. The French broadjack looks just as well made as the others. Speaking of the others, here's the rosewood handle version. Everything I just said about the sandalwood version is the same. You get the D2 blade, satin finish, overall great construction, just in a lighter colored handle option. I will say that the rosewood models have a bit more variation. Some are a bit lighter or darker, some have more or less burls in the grain, but this is a good example of what you might expect out of the box. Regardless of which one you like, they're both very well made slip joints. If you like the way these look, then I'll promise you like the way they feel in your hand. The actions are excellent, the fit and finish is fantastic, it's just a well thought out and put together knife. Alright, next up is the Holston River Surgeon's knife. This is a restock of an older pattern from RoseCraft. They had a few laying around the shop and we scooped them up. There's a fairly limited supply of these and I'm not sure we'll be seeing another run anytime soon, so if you've had your eye on this, I wouldn't wait too long. This is a black micarta handle with an integral stainless steel bolster and liner, and with both blades closed, it measures 3.75 inches bolster to bolster, and it's about 0.45 inches wide. So once again, this is another compact slip joint that's not going to take up a lot of room in your pocket. The Holston River Surgeon's knife comes with 2 blades, a primary spear point blade and a smaller Warncliffe. With the spear point blade fully open, the knife measures 6.80 inches, the same length as the French broadjack. The primary blade is 3 inches tip to bolster with a cutting edge of 2.75 inches, whereas the secondary Warncliffe blade is smaller with a blade edge right around 2 inches. If you live in an area with some knife restrictions, these kinds of knives are usually not going to get you into any trouble or draw unwanted attention. It's a nice, clean-looking little slip joint that's got lots of practical use applications, especially for the more mundane, everyday cutting tasks. As usual with RoseCraft, these are both D2 steel blades with a satin finish, and they have a very nice edge on them right out of the box. Each blade is pretty thin, less than 1/10 of an inch thick, and features a nice little swedge along the spine. Okay, here's a brand new release. This one is called the Sequatchie River Muskrat. If you haven't noticed, RoseCraft names their knives after rivers in Tennessee, the Sequatchie being a 116-mile river in the Cumberland Plateau part of the state. It's got a black micarta handle, a spade shield, and of course an integral bolster and liner. This is another 2-bladed knife with both blades opening at opposite ends. Starting with them closed, this knife measures in at just under 4 inches bolster to bolster and is 0.46 inches wide scale to scale. Opening up the first blade, which is a Muskrat clip point in D2 steel, you get a cutting edge of 2.5 inches, and with just one blade extended, the knife is 6.88 inches overall. This is a pretty stiff pull. Depending on how you like your slip joints, that could be a positive or a negative. It just comes down to your personal preference. There's some more swedge work on this pattern. I always like seeing that. It's a nice detail that adds some character to the knife, and I'm glad to see RoseCraft paying attention to those little details. The other blade is identical in size, the only difference being it opens the opposite way, so you can do the Darth Maul thing if you want, but I wouldn't really recommend using more than one blade at a time. So what do you guys think about these? Be sure to leave a comment telling us your thoughts. We always like to get some audience participation. We've got some regulars who we see pretty often. Shout out to @StuartRolling602. We appreciate it. It's always fun hearing what you guys think, so don't be shy. Now that we've seen the new RoseCraft, let's talk about price, because that's an important part of the equation when it comes down to it. The French Broadjack in black sandalwood, that's currently selling for $54.99, and the rosewood version is also $54.99. That's a pretty decent value, especially for the quality you get from RoseCraft blades. Next, the Holston River Surgeon's knife, that's going to cost you even less. We've got it going for $42.99 right now, and last but not least, the Sequatchie River Muskrat is the most expensive item on the table today, but only comes in at $61.99 for a big old two-bladed slip joint. Don't forget, some of your favorite YouTubers have affiliate codes, and you can get up to 10% off your RoseCraft knife with one of those codes when you apply it at checkout. So be sure to check out some of their videos and support those guys. They're putting out a lot of great content. So everything we just saw is now available over at traditionalpocketknives.com. You can head on over to the website and see them, as well as a lot more from RoseCraft blades. And don't forget to check out our leather knife slips while you're there. The size small slips are a great fit for most of your RoseCraft or similar sized knives. We've got lots of colors to choose from, and to top it off, they're all made right here in the USA. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more knife content. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.